Here's what's coming up on today's show.
But, maintaining two homes, and everything that goes with it, utilities and, if you have a mortgage or if you don't have a mortgage, but there's certainly property taxes, insurances, all those sorts of things, upkeep of the home. So you just have to understand that there's upkeep.
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Mark, let's talk about snowbird season. It's cold out there and has been, and winter always has a lot of people thinking about warmer weather. For some folks in other parts of the country, that means an annual vacation to a tropical location. But for certain retirees, they choose to live elsewhere through the brunt of wintertime, and we call those folks snowbirds. Let's talk about what motivates people to take up temporary residence in Arizona and other places, and if it's worthwhile. Why do people choose the snowbird life, Mark, in your experience with folks that you know?
Oh, and we have a lot of snowbird clients. They typically will come out. It seems later now. They used to come out in like September. Now it seems like it's closer to October, November. Mm-hmm. And then they typically leave by, April, May. And a lot of them end up staying here, it seems like. They go back and forth, and then as they get older, they don't want to keep traveling, so they end up keeping their residence here and selling their residence where they're from. But, I think it's, if you're retired and you can afford it, why not have the best of both worlds? Our winters are great, even though it does get a little cold sometimes here in the wintertime, not compared to other areas for sure. We're not dealing with snow and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But our summers can be hot. Like I said, I'm born and raised here, and people say, do you get used to it? I said, no, you don't get used to it. You just learn to deal with it. But it does get hot, and if you don't have to sit through 100 and plus temperatures, which we had a record last year, more 100 plus days than we've ever had. It does get a little frustrating after a while. So if you have the option to go somewhere where it's cooler in the summer and then coming back to Tucson in the winter, that's not a bad lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd be too comfortable living in the Northeast or, in Minnesota or Wisconsin or anywhere like that.
Sure.
It's what you're used to a lot. But instead of moving permanently, a lot of these folks, come to get the nice winter weather in Arizona and some other places, and then they can, go back to from where they came, in other parts of the year. Where do snowbirds typically go for their winter destination? They certainly, a lot of them come to Arizona, but
Arizona is a hot spot. We have a lot in Tucson. I know Phoenix gets quite a few.
Yeah.
I think the affordability in Tucson's a lot better. So I think a lot of people like that. I guess Florida. If you're on the East Coast, probably Florida is another destination. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Texas is probably another area. I would say California, but with what's going on there, I don't know if it seems like more people are leaving there than going there.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think I read some statistics lately where Florida is actually number one on the list of places where folks would go, but I think I'd rather be in Arizona than in Florida.
I would, but I'm a little biased because I'm here. But, they have humidity to deal with where we don't. We just get hot. And we don't have all the other things going on like, hurricanes and stuff like that either. It's just hot.
That's certainly true. What should people consider before? I know that there are people right now who are in Arizona who aren't normally here, but what should folks consider before they become a snowbird?
Well, there's two sides of it, right? And like I said, we have a lot of snowbird clients. And some, are coming here in the wintertime. And then we have some, that are from different areas, whether it be the Midwest or the Northeast, or, lots of different areas. But, on the flip side of it, if people are from Tucson, maybe they do have a place in the summertime. Maybe they go even up north to like Pine Top area, which is northern Arizona, where it does get a lot cooler, or different areas where it is cooler. So they have their winter home here, and then they purchase a summer home somewhere else versus the opposite. So I think, you have to keep in mind, you have to have two places. So you have to maintain both places, which sometimes can be a pain, especially if you're not there. I mean, if you have family in the area, then that could help. But if you don't, then you got to pay somebody to go check on your place. You can always rent that out, but that comes with some issues too, depending on what can happen to your place if you're renting it out and you're not there to make sure that they're taking good care of your place.
Yeah, you have to be
it's the cost.
Absentee landlord, is not something
absolutely.
a lot of folks want to do.
Exactly, especially as you get into retirement. But, maintaining 2 homes, and everything that goes with it, utilities and, if you have a mortgage or if you don't have a mortgage, but there's certainly property taxes, insurances, all those sorts of things, upkeep of the home. So you just have to understand that there's upkeep involved.
One thing I wanted to mention here is also that with the advances in technology and so many people working from home these days, there are some younger people who have become snowbirds, other than those folks who are like middle age and over who are trying to escape the cold. Some younger folks have come on, and I guess you call them Zoom birds because they can conduct businesses via Zoom.
On a Zoom call. I'm guessing that's probably the case. We do have some younger clients that are, doing, some are working directly from home. Some are also doing the hybrid thing where they're in the office a couple days and working from home most of the days. So I think that is a trend that we're seeing. And if you can work from anywhere, then maybe it doesn't matter where you live and you can pick a place that you want to be that's reasonable and affordable and that sort of thing.
Well, I'd like to say to all those folks who may be Zoom birds or the regular snowbirds that we've talked so much about, if you'd like to have a conversation with Mark Silverman, I'm going to give you the number in just a second. But Mark, what does that very first conversation look like?
It's really just an introductory call. So there's no real agenda. It's whatever questions you may have, whether it's regarding your financial future or about us. It's really just a chance to talk. And like I said, you get to talk with me. I don't pawn you off on somebody else, but you can ask me any questions. If I have the answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't, then I'll try to point you in the right direction. And if we think that we're fit, we can talk about next steps on how we could get together and take things forward of how we may be able to work together. So it's really just a first call. There's no cost. There's no obligation. And Ron, I'll let you give out that information.
The True Wealth financial life planning process can be on the other end of that, but it all starts with a phone call, 520-333-7601. You can call that number or you can send a text to that number. It doesn't matter. 520-333-7601. That'll get you a complimentary 20-minute conversation with Mark Silverman. There's no cost involved and no obligation whatsoever. Again, 520-333-7601. You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601 or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.